Welcome back to Echo Ridge, where the German Empire is really starting to scale up. Recall, if you can, from the last couple episodes where we have founded Cologne and taken Tarnów. We also took Krakow, Warsaw, and have left the Polish Empire with Wakawerowa. We have a couple of island cities that are really going to help project our naval power. We're about to found a new city right here, Nuremberg. Very nice, and we have a couple of builders here where we're going to be able to improve the city and streamline its production in fairly short order. I think we're actually going to take this upgrade to field cannon instead of wiping out this musketman, because I don't think our builder is going to be at risk of being taken by the musketmen. Speaking of which, we have another upgrade here. And this is exactly what I was talking about earlier with Lady Ruff's caravel, catching somebody off guard and alone. Here's a wonderful apostle that we will condemn as a heretic. Goodbye. And our privateer will keep making their way to Coupe's coast to get some of those sweet, sweet pillages. For our next promotion, I think we're going to go with Pingala and give them grants so we can improve the amount of great people coming out of that city. I don't think we've taken a look at this screen in quite some time, but I wanted to at least give a nice update. We're making 12 great engineer points every turn, and our next closest competitor seems to be Australia at 3 great engineer points per turn. We're also getting 9 great scientist points per turn, but Australia and Nubia are both getting 14 per turn, so we're still lagging behind a little bit on that, but we'll still get a great scientist from time to time. Over in our civics tree, we're going to get diplomatic service, and that way we can start our spy game. After that, I think we'll continue up towards nationalism and even opera and ballet to get these envoys and governor titles. And then further beyond it, we need to start looking at what late game government we're going to hold, whether it be communism, fascism, or democracy. It would be beneficial to have more military policy slots, which fascism and communism give us. But we'll have to see how that cookie crumbles. We got a couple of builders over here in Krakow. Oh, we got some nice stone here. This is only going to make Krakow even better. We'll also improve this rice to make it grow. And next up, I think we're going for university, because I value the science much more than I value the culture right now, because I'm trying to stay up with the AI as far as our military advantage. We haven't looked at this in a quick minute, but we are sitting at 105 science, which is fairly even with the rest of the AI. And there's a couple of ways we can sort of check that. You can see we are down here, whereas ahead of us barely is John Curtin and Aminator, and below us is Coupe and Jadwiga. So I'm not too worried about it from a technology front, which if we are going to be going with a domination game, what we have to worry about is, for instance, someone getting tanks while we're still sitting on cavalry. Another way to check that is in the world ranking screen and going down to science. You can see we've researched 32 techs, whereas the Nubian Empire has researched 41. So we're about 9 techs behind. Keeping in mind, though, it could be 9 earlier techs that only take 2 or even 3 turns, whereas Nubia could be working on techs that take 16 turns. Over in Warsaw, we have a little bit of extra gold, so I'm going to pump out some of these earlier buildings, such as the granary, which is going to help growth here in Warsaw, and then we can turn that growth into production, and I say we'll start off with a nice barracks here. Actually, I think we already have a barracks in one place, so why don't we get the stable here? And that way future tanks can come out of Warsaw. Still in the first turn of this video, we have a wonderful bombard who's earned their 2nd promotion, so it's time to name the unit. Thank you to Erica E for the support, and here is their new bombard unit. Over in Berlin, we've just finished another frigate. I'm tempted to go university to get those great scientist points online, but I really wanted to keep up with the frigate production. But remember, our friend Filippo here is about to accelerate our wonderful Venetian arsenal. So I'd rather wait to produce more Navy units in the case that we are able to complete the Venetian arsenal, because then we're going to get 2 ships for every one that we create. Down to 21 turns. So we'll take a quick break and go with the university. In we're going to put down the +4 harbor, thanks to all these fishing boats and great reefs. It looks like the Maori have lost suzerain of Yerevan, which means they've declared peace with us, so we don't have to worry about them anymore over here in Nuremberg. We just completed industrialization, so it means we've unlocked coal. Already in Berlin, we have coal here and coal here. it improves these tiles to a 7 production each. But this tile was an existing lumber mill, which means we're not getting the coal from here, but we are getting 3 coal per turn from this one. So I need another builder here to take down the lumber mill and put a mine. It also means we can begin production on the Ruhr Valley if we'd wanted. Next up, we're going for steam power to unlock the ironclads, railroads, and giving all of our embarked units, in other words, non-Navy units that are out on the water, +2 movement. I'm about to build another factory over here in Radom, but I need to start being careful because too many factories sort of suffer from diminishing returns because the +3 production that you get from a factory applies to that city, but it also applies to all city centers within 6 tiles. So it'll still help by giving at least the +3 and then a +3 more when it's powered using our newly found coal. But if Warsaw, for instance, or Krakow already have a factory, that production bonus will not go over to them because they already have their own factory. Another turn for Filippo. We are going from 18 turns on the arsenal to 7. Here's our first coastal raid on Coupe's territory. I think we'll raid the farm, which doesn't really do anything for our own yields, but at least it takes out the farm for whatever city is sitting around here. I want some juicier targets. Oh, this is going to be perfect. There's a theater square and a holy site right here that are going to be great for plundering. Sadly, Lady Ruff Caravel has been destroyed. I was bringing them off the front lines to get a little bit of rest and repair, and despite being all the way out here, I'm not sure exactly what happened, but something reached out and touched that ship with some authority and sunk it. Sad potatoes. And this should be it. The last charge from Filippo, and oh, isn't it gonna be wonderful? Now every time we train a naval unit, we're going to get a second naval unit for absolutely free 99. The production in Trier is just nutty at 31. And that's before we even have a factory. But before we even get started on that, I think we're going to go to shipyard for only 8 turns. That way, any Navy ships we produce out of here for the Western Front will get their combat experience bonus. Our Nihang and Settler finally reached way up here to the north. And I can't exactly remember where we're going to put this city. This location here has some bonus resources and crabs and fish, but I think the better tile would be probably right here, because then we get fish, crabs, and diamond. We'll even be able to reach out and touch some of this iron over here. Yeah, this is definitely going to be it. Hopefully nobody's home. And another free builder. Thank you, Coupe. Now I have 2 choices at this point. One, I could sit here and beat up on some of these units with our privateer, just to gain them some experience. But I think I'd rather gain that experience by doing some coastal raids. So we're going to come around here, and I got to be careful of that encampment because I don't want to lose this privateer quite so quickly. So we'll try to hit it from this side here. Some geopolitical news. It looks like Australia and Nubia are at war because Yerevan has just declared war on Nubia. So I think this might be a good time to try to declare a friendship with old John Curtin. And they gladly recognize the strong friendship between our nations. Cheerio. Of course, I don't think the Aussies say cheerio. And what's funny is even though I am friends with Australia, since they haven't sent me a delegation, I have no idea where their capital is. My assumption is they possess somewhat of the middle of this continent here, because they have Nubia on this side, and then the Dutch up to the north. Maybe one day they'll send us a delegation. Our first frigate's going to go in here and start taking a couple of pot shops just to do a little reconnaissance and see how the city fares. It'll also be great for an experience, and as long as we leave before it's too much damage, we'll be able to pop right over here in Frankfurt, rest and repair, and keep that game up until we finally take Coupe's capital. Here it is. John Curtin's finally asking for an embassy. We've also completed diplomatic service, which means we now have access to spies. We'll double check these policies, make sure there's nothing new that we want. I don't think we're going to be upgrading any units anytime soon, so we're going to take professional army out and put in conscription, which lowers our unit maintenance costs, and that'll be good for now. The first pop shot on the frigate only took 16 health points, so I'm just going to sit here and keep leveling up. We're not doing a lot of damage, but when we get more frigates and add them to the fun, that'll be the difference maker. This privateer, though, just moved into position to start some coastal raids, and it's already down 259 health, but I think it's going to be worth. There's 119 culture. We're going to be able to establish our own resident embassy in Australia, which has shown us exactly where Canberra is. And it looks like there is some coastal there. I'm going to do some reconnaissance. There might be a way to navigate to their capital whenever we do decide to become not friends anymore and destroy it. Here's another wonderful raid. We'll hit the theater square again for another 119 culture. Up north, we are founding the wonderful city of Munster, and we're going to take this Nihang because I see a nice tribal village here. Late game tribal villages are a little weird. We got 40 gold. It's not a lot, but it's still something. Our frigate from sitting here and just sending out some pop shots has got its first promotion. We're going to do bombardment, which is going to give us +7 combat strength to districts, which is exactly what the doctor ordered. And then we're going to keep going down this line because rolling barrage will give us another +10 until we finally get to +1 range. And what's great about +1 range is we'll be able to sit back here. And as long as we have vision of this capital, we'll be able to hit them. And they won't be able to hit us. A coastal raid onto a builder that was sitting here has given us another builder. We're probably going to lose it, but we'll try to send it home. It looks like the Netherlands have started producing their own privateers. Not too big of a deal. Now, I don't like this privateer versus caravel fight, but our Navy is quickly going to be able to swamp theirs as soon as we get our naval production going here. But I've been getting all the goodies, like more factories and shipyards. Soon. We just finished steam power and the Enlightenment, which means we can start getting working on railroads, which do cost coal and iron, but the movement speed of your land-based armies becomes significantly faster. And when you're trying to transport people from, let's say, Magdeburg all the way up to Krakow, they could do it in a couple of turns as opposed to, like 10. I also want to start looking at unlocking oil to make sure we know where the oil is. Now, this is not the offshore oil type, but it's going to take us a couple of older techs, but we're going to be able to churn through these in 1 and 2 turns. Offshore oil doesn't come until plastics, but getting that early start on the oil here will really help when we start churning out some of our advanced Navy units. I am sending all of our caravels back to friendly territory, and that way we can get the ironclad upgrade. It does cost a coal, but it also boosts steel and gives our ironclads 70 melee strength, which would be able to crush these privateers much better than these caravels are. Since we do have a small advantage right now, I think we will try to beat them up a little bit. There's castles, which means we've unlocked the courser and some medieval walls. I knew I saw this privateer trying to slip out. Now, the frigate versus privateer fight doesn't bode well for us, but it'd be smart to be able to get at least the first shot, and that way it gets their health down a little bit. Over in our capital, I think it's time to start smothering the Earth's atmosphere in a thick smog by making a coal power plant. Now, power is one of those late game things that not a lot of players are familiar with because it can get a little convoluted. Basically, at the cost of 1 coal per turn, we're going to be dumping a lot of CO2 in the atmosphere, but for that, we're going to get a +6 to production and bonus production equal to the adjacency of the district. Well, our Hansas have some pretty good adjacency, so this really turns production on its head. Plus, it's going to give us another great engineer point. But because of all the CO2, you really don't want to build too many of these power plants. This power plant's going to work for every city within 6 tiles. So that includes Magdeburg, Heidelberg, Berlin. So I think the next power plant won't be until Radom. We also have to keep in mind how much coal we actually have. Each ironclad's going to take a little bit of coal, and now our power plant is going to as well. And of course, Poland has not learned their lesson and are now denouncing us. Does that really seem like a good idea to you? We did lose our privateer up here. We had the upgrade, so I figured next turn they'd be able to get their health back. They must have moved something up on the coast. That was a little bit of sloppy play out of me. I really thought I had enough health. But we did get another great person. It's a great admiral. I'm not too excited about Xing Shi, so I think in this case we're going to pass and go look for somebody else. Because gaining 500 gold and military units getting +60% rewards on plundering trade routes, you don't actually plunder trade routes very often, and 500 gold is 2.5 turns worth of gold for me right now, so I'll pass. I wanted to show you the difference with the ironclad. Look at their range here. I can move from this tile all the way down here, quickly joining any fight. Looks like this frigate's going to be able to gobble up another great admiral. And here's our second ironclad. I'm going to need more coal here soon. We have some coal here, and I still need to flip this tile here. Oh, we also have some here. Builders are going for 485 gold. Is that something maybe we can make a deal for? Nobody wants to buy all my stuff. Look at this. This camp was just pillaged. So my guess is they have a privateer sitting around here. Privateers are sort of like submarines that unless the enemy AI has something specific, they're not going to be able to see it. Here it is. Can only be seen by other naval raiders unless you're adjacent to it. Oh, don't you worry. Our war machine is about to come online. We had talked a long time ago about getting a Panama Canal to be able to link these two sides, because otherwise we have to go all the way up and around here. The difference being is I now have a little bit of production on this side, so it may not matter too much. I mean, we could get another wonder here. There's a few that are available, surprisingly. But I think we're actually going to use this opportunity to grab a spy and then get our traders back up to max. We're missing one trade route, which means we're leaving too much gold on the table. Let's send Magellan back again. They're not going to learn. You're not going to get anywhere with that great admiral. I wish you could outright destroy them. I thought you used to be able to gobble them up. I don't know what changed. I need to take this caravel that's way up here back to our homelands, which it won't be too bad because I can just travel the Arctic Ocean, head back over here, and that way we can get it promoted to an ironclad. So I just saw exactly what happened. There are actually 3 trebuchets here in the fog of war. So it was one too many pop shots. The frigate lived, which is good because I would have been a little upset. But we're going to send them back right now and get them repaired. Now this ironclad is going to look for that privateer, which is sort of a needle in a haystack. Our caravel found another beautiful city point. Because of all the reefs here, this tile right here would be a +6 campus. I mean, that seems almost worth it by itself. So I may try to churn out a settler here soon. It's a little further away. It would definitely be a forward projection of our power, depending on what's over here in this area. But maybe after we take Coupe's capital, it might be good to do. Old Coupe has changed governments and stuff, because if you look at this, they're getting massive bonuses onto this caravel, to the point where it's equal in strength to our ironclad. We finally have a builder over here, so we're going to be able to get the mine. But it would make a lot of sense to be able to remove the woods before we put the mine. So we are going to remove it there and then have to bring another builder to be able to get the mine. But that 101 production just reduced the build time on a couple of privateers. There you are, you little bugger. We found you. There's the privateer that was causing us problems. We'll definitely go destroy it. Oh, beautiful. +7 experience. We have our first powered city, which has improved refining and electricity. We've also got the inspiration for class struggle. You know, I talk about plundering trade routes, but apparently the Netherlands is continuously sending some traders across our area, so we're definitely going to take advantage of that. But on the power front, when we go over to our lenses and click on power, we can now see which cities are powered. Well, they need to have first a building that requires power, such as a factory. Hence the reason why it says Radom is underpowered, because it has a factory that is unpowered, which just means it's not getting as much production as it could. But over in our capital, it means we can get 2 frigates every 2 turns. Yeah, this is going to get dirty quick. Speaking of which, here's our pair of privateers. Let's go ahead and build the fleet up for a minute, shall we? Over in Berlin, we're getting frigates and privateers in 3 turns. We got our first spy, and we're going to head over into Nagarzugamu. It's going to take a little while to set them up, and that way our spy will level up a little bit before we start some more difficult missions, like funneling gold out of it. We're also, over in Trier, going to concentrate on our spy game by getting the intelligence agency, which is going to give us another spy, and giving all of our spies a better chance of success. Here's our 3rd ironclad, but not to fear about the coal costs because we're about to bring some more online. Now this is a big tech that we completed. We are now able to join identical units into corps or a fleet, which makes all of our units much, much stronger. I think we can finally drop veterancy. We've got most of the shipyards and harbors that we want, So we're going to do something a little disgusting here and putting press gangs, which is going to give us 100% production towards industrial era and early naval units. So places like Berlin are going to be able to produce 2 frigates every single turn. And then we're going to be able to take them and turn them into a fleet. The difference in the fleet here, this frigate now has a 65 range and a 55 melee, whereas individually they only have 55 range and 45 melee. The next upgrade for that is in mobilization, which allows to form 3 units together into armies or armadas. We're going to definitely be getting it, and especially considering we're going to get the boost by just having 3 corps in our military. But we also want to go back and get colonialism because all of our fishing boats improvements are going to get +1 production. And you know how many fishing boats we have. So I think we're going to go here and then into mobilization. In fact, here's that boost right here. Oh, it wants 3 corps, not 3 fleets. In our capital, we've churned out even more ships. All of these armadas are making their way over to Coupe, and it's going to be problems for them. But more importantly, I think we are going to try to grab Ruhr Valley in the capital. Plus 20% production in the city, plus 1 production for each mining quarry. And the only thing it cost us is a deer tile? Yeah, I think that's going to work. The old emergency about defending Warsaw is finally finished. We got another +4 era score for it. Not that it's going to matter, but we can probably peace out with Wilhelmina, maybe for a little bit. We could just peace out with them, and I think we're going to, just so we have another partner to be able to trade with. Of course, she's probably going to end up getting mad at us anyways, but you know how that goes. They did allow us to put an embassy in. We'll offer them open borders. They're happy to take it. And now look at this. They want to buy some of our luxury resources. Here's our spy, and exactly like we're talking about, I'm going to do gain sources, which will take 8 turns, and it's 100% success. But once we do that, we're going to be able to operate 2 levels higher for 24 turns. If we try to do something else, like steal a tech boost, we'd only have a very low chance. So this will help us get some levels and eventually be able to steal more things. We have unlocked Gustav Eiffel. We will definitely recruit them because it's going to give us 480 production towards wonder construction, which we can immediately use in the construction of Ruhr Valley. In fact, we're still going to be left with some charges here because we only have 8 turns left. We got the upgrade for line infantry and cavalry, not to mention that +1 production to fishing boats. That's across our empire, so our production just took a massive boost. And we got another great person. This great admiral is willing to give us grant 1 promotion level and 50% combat experience to a military naval unit. I mean, it's not great, but maybe we'll just recruit the great admiral and have it sail around with our fleet, which by the looks of it, Coupe is not going to be able to last too long. Matter of fact, this is a wonderful screenshot, isn't it? Keep in mind that these are all fleets, so each one of them has basically double the amount of tack power. So let's walk in here, take some pop shots, move the ironclad forward. In fact, we'll be able to take out this trebuchet. That's cute, Coupe, that you're still on trebuchets. Sorry about that. Here's another hit. Here's another fleet shot here. Here's another frigate. We have some privateers here. We're going to be able to do some nice coastal raiding, especially on this campus. And now we have another fleet. I suppose we can move all the way up. Oh, absolutely glorious. We're going to take our next spy and head on over to Amsterdam. You know, just to see what's going on. We're not going to be doing anything too nefarious. There's another boost to the Ruhr Valley from Mr. Eiffel. And there we go. I cannot believe how much production is going to be coming out of our capital. The Ruhr Valley, once again, plus 20% production in the city, +1 production for each mine and quarry. We've also boosted flight, and now our capital has 91 production. We could build a Statue of Liberty in 13 turns. Instead, I think we're actually going to put down an entertainment district because we could use some of the amenities. Notice 17 cities, we have 13 content, and 4 are displeased or unhappy. We keep buying as many luxuries as we can. It's just what happens when your empire gets to be so very, very large. The city of Eindhoven has finally flipped. I think we're definitely going to keep it, which only makes our amenity problems even worse, but more cities, more better. And here's another round of shots. Now, they do have a bunch of trebuchets that they've walked up with. I'm not going to be too concerned with them. I'm just going to keep attacking into the city center, because as soon as we drop those walls, our ironclads will be able to move in. Now, our privateer could hit them, so I could do that, which might be a good play. We're still getting experience, and we can always pillage this later. We still have an extra charge on old Gustav Eiffel, so we'll put them to sleep until we decide to build another wonder that is worth our squeeze. Jadwig's trying to throw some shade. It is better that you lack ambition to claim land, because I believe you lack the acumen to rule what you would take. Now, keep in mind that we own the entire Polish Empire. Are you sure you want to hold on to that city? I'll show you exactly what kind of acumen I have. Already our first promotions are coming in for our wonderful mega fleet here, which is good because it's going to keep the entire fleet up on health. So what was this, 3 turns or was it 4? I'm not exactly sure, but we've taken Coupe's capital. Easy breezy. I'm going to try to get all the shots off that we can here. But we might as well do this coastal right here for the quick science. 135 science before our ironclad just walks into the city and takes it. Apparently, they have another city right about here that owns a lot more of the land. Not too big of a deal. Right now, it is disloyal. But as soon as we take one of these wonderful governors, for instance, maybe Reina here, we don't need them in Frankfurt as much, and we can put them into Coupe's very long city name. Now we have positive loyalty. And now, since this is our territory, we can heal in it. And the Great Admiral finally makes it to the battle, although the battle is kind of, over. We're going to continue our conquest of Coupe, but with their city way over here, we're not going to have an ability to reach out and take it by naval means. So we're going to go across the strait and try to take out Opango, possibly even this free city of Aachen, and maybe we can just get this one to loyalty flip. But that's going to have to wait till the next episode. We've made a lot of great progress and are continuing our domination. I hope you're still enjoying the series. I look forward to reading your comments below. So until next time, much love, happy gaming, and I'll talk to you soon.